Welcome to AngLo's essay writing techniques. Essay writing is not a new concept. We know how to write an essay, and we have been writing essays for quite a long time. But this time, since you submit your essay to the International Language Testing Body, you have to ensure that it meets the expected international standard, for which we have to consider certain things. First thing is task response. Second thing is lexical resources, under which we have to take care of words and phrases. Third thing is structure, means coherence. Fourth thing is linkage, cohesive devices. Finally, language style. Let's see, what's task response? A task in general means any given work that has to be accomplished within the stipulated time. Now your task is going to be writing an essay covering enough words within the given time. So what you have to do is that read the question carefully and repeatedly till you understand it. The question would look so simple, but some important catches may be there in it. You need to find out which is the catch and how to break it. For example, a question may be like this: wealthy nations have to help poor nations in the areas such as health and education. To what extent you agree or disagree? In the areas such as health and education means it is not only about health and education, but other areas as well. Since they have used the word such as, we must look into other areas like researchers, infrastructure, finding resources, technology, etc. So, do not stick to health and education alone. So we need to find out which word is the catch in it. Next, the most of the time, the question would be like this: to what extent do you agree or disagree with this? Whatever is your stand, it doesn't matter whether agreement or disagreement. You have to stick to your stand throughout the essay. Never try to submit a balanced information or partly agreement and partly disagreement information. That is not accepted. So you be able to you be stable in your stand. Either you do agree or disagree. According to me, I have analyzed two things. One is direct question, the other is indirect question. Anybody would be able to understand direct question easily, understand and answer accordingly. Direct question means questions starting with auxiliary verbs such as am, is, or, was, where, have, has, and etc. And WH questions like where, when, how, who, etc. We are able to understand these things clearly. For example, computers are used in so many fields like banks, schools, crime detection, etc. Where will they be used for in future? Second question is, shall we depend on the computers or should we be more suspicious about their benefits? Here, we can understand all the questions clearly. That number one, where the computers will be used. Number two, shall we depend on them? Number three, should we be more suspicious about them? One can understand and answer these questions comfortably. Whereas the indirect question starts with a statement instead of a question form. It would have a number of statements and you will have a question to what extent you agree or disagree. Here, you have to be a bit careful. For example, women have achieved a considerable status in the society in the last 2 decades. The next statement is, youngsters experience a lot of problems like juvenile delinquency due to the fact that most of the working women are not at home to take care of their children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? In this case, generally, participants try to discuss all the matters that are present in the question that may be wrong. In half of the essay, they will discuss on women's development and the rest on youngsters' problem. In one particular essay, you cannot discuss too many things. So, to what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement means here it's very much relating to the last statement. I repeat, it's very much relating to the last statement. We may discuss so many issues. Finally, if I ask you what extent you agree or disagree with me, it should be directly connected to the last statement of mine. So for indirect questions, you have to look into the last statement. The previous statement may or may not help you to support your points. If at all you get some supporting information from them, you may consider. The next thing is lexical resources. Lexical means words related. Try to use more suitable and appropriate words. Scratch your head and catch more words relating to the topic. Some people use quite irrelevant words. For example, if the topic is about capital punishment, some say, yes, capital punishment should be given to people who are going in a wrong way, who are doing mistakes, etc. The statement who are doing mistakes is different from the statement who are committing crimes. We should not punish people who are going in a wrong way or doing mistakes, but help them. So we should find out appropriate vocabulary that best fits the topic. For the topic capital punishment, we may use words like crime, criminal, accused, acquisition, verdict, adjournment, judgment, clemency, and other related words as well. Next, phrases and idioms. To distinguish yourself from regular users of English, you may use phrases, idioms, and collocations. These are considered to be essential components of effective usage in English. Please start preparing AngLo's effective vocabulary or joint vocabulary improvement program of AngLo to improve and strengthen your vocabulary. The next thing is structure. Let's discuss this topic separately after this. The next thing is linkage. Linkage means cohesive devices. It generates a link between two statements or paragraphs. You will bring in different examples from different sectors, one from historical, one from legal, one from social, and one from technical. If they are not interlinked properly, they might look like cut and paste information on your essay. So to maintain continuity and to make it a single entity, you need to supply some cohesive devices. You can use it at the beginning of each para, as in addition to the above mentioned. Apart from the above, yet another evidence that proves something is necessary or unnecessary, etc. As I have mentioned in the previous para. On the other hand, nevertheless, etc. Therefore, these cohesive devices help us to link two statements or paragraphs that make the whole essay a single document. Next, language style. When it comes to the style of language that you use in the essay, It need not be a journalistic language, but need to be at least a reasonable textbook standard language, like 10th plus 1 plus 2 standard of language, in which you can find the usage of all tense, voice, and most of language components. So try to use a textbook language simply. And some ask if it is compulsory to use all tense, voice in the essay. Excuse me. And some ask if it is compulsory to use all tense, voice in the essay. Though it is not compulsory, it is necessary to show your strength of language by using variety with accuracy. So it is possible to create a structure using a particular tense, which is maybe complex or very difficult. Instead of saying people are facing a lot of problems, we can put it this way, like people have been facing a lot of problems ever since the introduction of this device, plan, scheme, or project. On the whole, you consider that you are onto some English test, not onto essay contest, to give much importance to only content rather than the language ingredients. So you need to focus more on language discipline and competence. Try to use some effective and complex sentence structures using full-length grammar. And next, get to know the difference between information and suggestion. Fill the essay mostly with information and examples. Next, get to know the difference between information and suggestion. Fill the essay mostly with information and examples, not with suggestion and imagination, unless you are asked to do so. Information means something that happened or happens, or a real-time incident that you came to know through a media. Let it be universal or global example that everybody knows about it. Suggestion means assumed information. For example, the question may be about single or several careers. Which one is good? Some may say several careers, because people do not find chance to stick to a particular job. May be able to find some alternative and maintain their lifestyle without any disturbance. For this, they may quote some examples saying, for example, if a person who is working in an IT company and does not have any alternative idea or career is suddenly sacked or dismissed, it would be difficult for him to survive or maintain his lifestyle. This is not example. They started with, for example, and submitted some assumption, which is a suggestion, information. They started with, for example, and submitted some assumption, which is a suggestion. Information means it could be like this. For example, a few years ago, many IT companies sacked or laid off many IT professionals. Most of the professionals had some alternative careers in their hands, such as share broking, online trading, software development, etc. So they were able to maintain their lifestyle, but a few among them were not able to survive and ended their lives. It is because they did not have any alternative in their hands. This thing shows it's an example that we have taken from some incidents. The previous quote was an absolute imagination.